Chapter 1. Close your eyes for a moment, not for long. Just long enough to ask yourself, what are you really? Are you merely the flesh that obeys the laws of gravity and time? Or is there something more, something that beats with a different frequency, not subject to the decay of matter? Think about it. For centuries, humanity has sought the answer to that fundamental question in temples, in mountains, and in dusty books. But the truth, the most monumental of truths, is not found outside. It resides within you, and it is a truth that begins with a cosmic act of detachment. It is the story of the fragment, the primordial story, the one that precedes all of the mythologies we know, is the story of unity. Imagine the Creator, the source of all that is, as a vast and eternal ocean of pure consciousness. In that existence of infinite fullness, a paradox arose. The ocean could not know itself. It could not experience individuality, variety, the drama of contrast. Totality has no mirror. And so, in the most sublime act of love and self-exploration, the ocean of consciousness made a decision. It fragmented. This was not an act of weakness, but of radical will. Millions of sparks, countless billions of portions of that creative essence were cast like seeds into the potentiality of matter, with a single purpose: to experience. You, who are listening to me now, and I, and every star in the night sky, are one of those sparks. We are the source in disguise, but here lies the secret, the key to the power we are about to unravel, which has been guarded in whispers by esoteric schools for millennia. Not all of the Creator's consciousness descended. At the moment of the great fragmentation, a portion, a most subtle layer of that creative consciousness, was retained. It did not fully descend into the dense oscillation of the physical plane. It remained, by design and purpose, anchored in the realms of light, frequency, and pure thought. This portion is what we call the astral fragment. Think of the planes of existence not as separate places, but as vibrational frequencies. Modern science speaks of multiverses. Ancient wisdom speaks of subtle bodies. They are the same, seen from different angles. Esoteric cosmology describes a universe that exists in multiple frequencies simultaneously, a vibrational hierarchy ranging from the densest to the most subtle. We have the physical plane, the reality of the five senses. It is the dimension of dense matter, where time is linear and change is slow. Inertia and entropy are the laws that govern this realm. Next is the etheric plane, which is the vital energy or prana. It is the energetic template that organizes physical matter, the realm of patterns that animate the tangible. The etheric, though subtle, is intimately linked to the physical body and operates with it as an exact double. But let us ascend one step further to the heart of our exploration, the astral plane. It is the realm of emotion, of desire, of dreams. It is the quintessentially malleable substance, the one that gives form to ideas, and, higher still, the mental plane, that of pure idea, reason, and archetypes, where pure thought resides, devoid of emotion. And finally, the spiritual plane, pure consciousness, unity with the source, where the astral fragment finds its immaculate origin. Why did some of these fragments of consciousness remain in the subtle planes? Because they acted as anchors of creative potential. If all consciousness had incarnated into the physical plane, the experience would have become limited and disoriented, disconnected from its purpose. For the experience in matter to have higher meaning, the memory of the source had to remain immaculate in an accessible place. The astral fragment is that immaculate memory, a reserve of creative potential and knowledge that has not been touched by the illusions and limitations of dense matter. This astral fragment is not an external concept to us. It is the portion of creative consciousness that did not fully descend into density. The revelation, the one that changes how you see your own existence, is this: every human being, Every individualized particle of consciousness has direct access to this retained fragment. Where does it reside? It resides in what mystics and theosophists, such as Helena Blavatsky in her work Isis Unveiled and Charles Leadbeater, called the astral body. This body is not a mere metaphor. It is a layer of vibrating energy, a vehicle of desires and feelings that interpenetrates your physical body. It extends a hand's breadth beyond the body you can touch, forming part of what we know as the aura. The astral body is the direct bridge between the world of pure thought, mental, and the world of action, physical. It is the workshop of manifestation. The key is that the creative fragment, though of spiritual origin, operates primarily through this astral body, using it as its design interface. Chapter 2. The fundamental Hermetic principle, the basis of all manifestation, and the underlying physics of modeling states, all is mind, the universe is mental. This maxim, found engraved on the emerald tablet attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, is a description of the physics of the higher planes. The entire universe is the manifestation of the Creator's sustained thought. When we speak of astral matter, we are referring to a substance infinitely more subtle than physical matter, but which, unlike light or sound, has a unique and powerful quality. It is malleable. It is the cosmic clay. Its defining characteristic is that it responds instantly to thought and emotion. On the physical plane, a thought to move an object requires muscular action and time. On the astral plane, thought is the driving force and the construction tool. The speed of creation on this subtle plane is the speed of mental light. Sustained and clear thought emanating from our mental and emotional plane shapes the astral substance. The difference is abysmal. While physical matter is inert, astral matter is alive. Physical matter is the effect. Astral matter is the immediate cause of that effect. Before any event manifests in the three-dimensional world, it has been created and gestated in the astral plane. It is impossible for something to appear in the physical without having first existed as a thought form in the astral. Every thought you harbor, however fleeting it may seem, has a repercussion. But when a thought is held, nourished by emotion and clarity of intention, it becomes something more. It becomes a thought form. Thought forms are semi-independent entities, masses of astral substance shaped by the mental and emotional energy of their creator. The quality of the emotion determines the color and intensity of the form. A thought of anger or aggression generates dense, red and dark forms with a destructive vibration. A thought of healing or peace generates clear blue or golden forms with a harmonizing vibration. The longevity of the thought form is directly proportional to the intensity and duration of the thought that generated it. A momentary fear dissolves quickly. A phobia or obsessive desire creates a persistent and powerful thought form that remains in the creator's auric field or in the environment, attracting events and circumstances that feed and reinforce it. In this way, the creative fragment can become a prisoner of its own creations. Here, the great question of manifestation that confuses so many is resolved. Why do some thoughts materialize and others do not? It is not magic. It is energetic physics and internal coherence. A thought manifests physically when it meets the three requirements of creation: clarity of vision, emotional intensity, and persistence, coherence. Clarity is the design. The mental plane must project a precise, unambiguous image. Emotional intensity, is the fuel. Desire, faith, or passion give it the vibrational energy to descend. But persistence is the act of will that maintains the astral form until it achieves critical mass. When the thought form is powerful and dense enough in the astral plane, it acts as a gravitational magnet for events, people, and circumstances in the physical plane. Manifestation is simply the descent of the thought form from the mental plane through the astral to the etheric plane and finally to the physical. The concept of resistance becomes vital here. Resistance is not an external force. It is the counter thought forms that you yourself have created. If you desire financial success, a positive charged thought form. But deep down you maintain a subconscious belief fueled by years that I am not worthy of wealth, an opposing negative counter thought form. These two forms cancel each other out in the astral plane. The creative fragment wastes its energy in an internal conflict that prevents the descent of the manifestation. The time it takes for something to manifest is often the time it takes to dissolve the internal resistance and achieve a critical mass of coherent thought form. The law of alignment with the greater good comes into play. The astral fragment, being part of pure consciousness, has a natural tendency towards harmony and cosmic flow. Thought forms that are aligned with evolution, compassion, and universal good flow with the current of the akasha and manifest more easily because they do not encounter the natural resistance of the deep soul nor the friction of the cosmos. In contrast, creations based on selfishness or manipulation require constant effort and generate great energetic friction, which will be recorded in the akasha as karmic debt, a topic we will address in depth later. The purity of intention is the most potent catalyst in astral modeling. Chapter 3. To understand the potency of the astral fragment, we must detail its operation through the planes with greater precision, as described by the neuroscience of visualization and ancient metaphysics. Science, through neuroscience, has confirmed that the brain does not perfectly distinguish between a performed action and a vividly and emotionally charged imagined action. When an athlete visualizes winning a race, the same motor areas activate as if they were running. This, for the astral fragment, is proof that thought is action. Visualization works not because it is a plea to the universe, but because it is the literal construction of a functional thought form in the astral plane. The physical brain becomes the antenna and transformer that captures the pure idea of the creative fragment, mental plane, and clothes it with emotional density, astral plane, so that it can begin its descent. The power of imagination is, therefore, the power of the creative fragment operating with control. Neville Goddard, an influential 20th century metaphysics teacher, taught that imagination is the only God. His famous assertion, "Imagination creates reality," is a modern and concise form of the Hermetic law. By imagining a state, we are not only creating the thought form of that state in the astral plane, but we are inhabiting that state, meaning we are tuning the vibrational frequency of our consciousness to that of that form. The true challenge is not just to create the thought form, but to maintain mental residence within it. This is crucial. Most people create for an instant and then spend the rest of the day returning to the frequency of doubt, scarcity, or fear. Each return to a negative frequency is an act of active destruction of the positive thought form created. The conscious modeler understands that the work is done through persistence in the feeling that the creation is already done, that the desire has already been fulfilled in the astral plane. This is known as the astral seal. The astral seal is the act of releasing the desire and trusting the process. Once the thought form has been designed with clarity, charged with intense emotion, and sustained with persistence, the creator must let it go. Letting go is not giving up, but sending the thought form into the akasha so the cosmic mechanism can take care of its materialization. Obsession and worry are forms of energetic retention that prevent the thought form from completing its descent, maintaining control at the mental level and preventing its passage into the etheric and physical flow. The deep understanding of astral dynamics is what allows the creative fragment to go beyond the manifestation of personal desires. It allows for the manifestation of the greater purpose. When personal desire aligns with the evolutionary will of the planet, the thought form receives energetic support from higher sources, mental and spiritual planes, manifesting almost effortlessly. Synchronicities become the physical signal that the thought form has been approved by the cosmic hierarchy and is ready to materialize. Chapter 4. To complete this first part, we must anchor the concept of the astral fragment with a broader vision of the evolution of consciousness and the role this power plays in it, as established by ancient wisdom. The fragmentation of the Creator was not a single, finished event, but a continuous process of self-discovery. Humanity, by incarnating, finds itself in a cycle of experiences designed to return the memory of its creative power. The retained astral fragment is the guarantee that this memory is always available. The evolution of the human race is, in essence, the gradual reintegration of incarnated consciousness with its astral fragment. In her monumental work, The Secret Doctrine, Helena Blavatsky postulated the existence of the root races, extensive evolutionary cycles of humanity, in which consciousness has descended from more subtle planes to the current density. This theosophical cosmogenesis explains that in the first eras, human beings were much more aware of their astral and etheric bodies. The connection was direct. With immersion in matter, this connection atrophied, and the creative fragment became veiled by illusion. Our current time, according to this vision, is an awakening where the astral fragment is being activated again, hence the massive interest in manifestation and mental laws. This collective awakening means that the planet's astral environment is undergoing a transformation. The more creative fragments awaken and use their power with purpose and purity, the more thought forms of peace, harmony, and enlightenment are created collectively. This counteracts the thought forms of fear and conflict created by unconscious humanity. The battle for the future is, in fact, fought in the astral plane. The conscious modeler is a spiritual warrior who uses thought as their weapon of light. The concept of cosmic fire, deepened by Alice Bailey, describes the creative fragment as a spark of fire. This mental fire and mental plane must be controlled and used to purify the astral fire, emotional plane. The creative fragment can only operate at full power when its astral desires are sublimated and aligned with the higher purpose. If the astral desire is pure, the mental fire is channeled without obstacles, and manifestation is rapid and harmonious. If the desire is selfish, the astral fire becomes uncontrolled, burns the auric field, and hinders the process. In summary, the first part of our journey has established 1. The cosmology and the divine origin of your power through the retained astral fragment. 2. The law of thought as creative substance, where astral matter is the cosmic clay that responds instantly to clarity, emotion, and persistence. 3. The dynamics of the thought form as a semi-independent entity and the reason for resistance in manifestation. We have laid the theoretical foundation of the power that resides within you. Now it is time to delve into the infrastructure of this power, how to access the universal creative memory, the Akashic records, and the anatomy of the astral body, which is the physical vehicle of manifestation, preparing the ground for practical techniques. For we resume the path with the certainty that we are fragments of the creative consciousness and that the astral plane is our primary workshop of manifestation. We have understood that thought is the force and emotion the fuel. Now, we must explore the vast archive where each of those thoughts and emotions is recorded, and the subtle vehicle that allows us to execute the creative act. Chapter 5. Now, it is crucial to understand the record of all that creative activity. If the universe is mental and every thought is a form in the astral plane, where is the immensity of this information stored? The answer is found in the concept of the Akasha. The Akasha is not a physical place, nor a library in space. It is the primordial substance, or ether. It is, according to Eastern wisdom and theosophical doctrine, the undifferentiated basis of all that exists, the pure essence from which all planes, all matter, and all energy are derived. Its most fascinating property is its ability to record everything. The Akasha acts as a vast, infinite, cosmic memory. It records not only every manifested action in the physical plane, but also every thought, every feeling, every intention that has existed in all planes of the universe since the moment of the Great Fragmentation. This is what is known as the Akashic Records. Imagine the Akasha as a cosmic film in constant reproduction, where each frame is an instant of time, and each color is an emotion or thought. They are not static files, but energetic vibrations. If you want to know the history of Earth, you only need to tune into the frequency of its Akashic record. The ability to access these records is inherent to the astral fragment we carry. To access the universal library, the individual must raise their consciousness to a frequency that resonates with the higher astral plane, or ideally, with the mental plane. This access is achieved through deep meditation, trained clairvoyance, and extrasensory perception techniques. True ascension of consciousness is not a journey to a location, but a tuning to the frequency of the Akasha. Helena Blavatsky claimed to have accessed the secret doctrine and the esoteric history of planet Earth through the reading of these records, challenging accepted historical narratives. She postulated that the fundamental truths of humanity are imprinted in this matrix of space, and that the creative fragment, when awake, can decode this information. Later figures like Nicholas and Helena Roerich, with their work in Agni Yoga, connected the Akasha with creative inspiration. They saw art and music of great purity, not as human inventions, but as rays of energy and knowledge descending from the higher planes, an intuitive and non-intellectual reading of the Akasha. For them, the artist and the profound thinker are translators of Akashic knowledge into physical forms. Reading the Akasha, then, is not only obtaining information about the past, it is obtaining knowledge about all past, present, and potential future knowledge. It is seeing the consequences of thought forms before they manifest physically. The future, as mentioned before, is not written in stone, but exists as multiple thought forms of probability in the Akasha. The most probable future is simply the strongest and most emotionally charged thought form in the collective astral plane. A reader of the Akashic records can access that dominant form, but also the alternatives created by other fragments. This is the supreme lesson of empowerment that the Akasha gives us. If the probable future does not please you, you have the power to create a stronger and more sustainable alternative thought form. You are a co-creator of the collective timeline. The Akasha has a direct relationship with karma. Every creation of your fragment, be it of thought, emotion, or action, is recorded. The law of return is activated instantly in the Akasha. If the intention behind the thought form is pure and aligned with cosmic harmony, the Akasha generates a positive energetic return. If the intention is selfish or harmful, the record generates a friction, an energetic debt. Karma is not a punishment, but the perfect feedback mechanism of the Akasha, designed to teach each fragment total responsibility for its creative power through direct experience. Chapter 6. For the astral fragment to operate and model effectively, it must use the vehicle that connects it with the physical world, the astral body. The physical body is not our only garment. It is interpenetrated by multiple layers of energy that vibrate at higher frequencies. The first level enveloping the physical is the etheric double or etheric body. It is the body of vitality, composed of vital energy or prana. It is the template that organizes physical atoms and is responsible for absorbing cosmic energy and distributing it to the physical body. It is the seat of immediate health. Immediately after, and more extensively, we find the astral body, also called the emotional body. As its name implies, it is the vehicle of our desires, feelings, passions, and emotions. It is the battlefield of our emotional lives, where thought forms settle and originate. The astral body extends beyond the physical in an ovoid shape and is the most vibrant and colorful part of the visible aura. Intense emotions manifest as explosions of color and energy in this field. The connection between the physical and the astral is governed by vortices of energy known as chakras. The chakras are wheels or spinning whirlpools that function as transformers. They connect the energy of the physical plane with the energy of the subtle planes, including the astral. Each chakra is associated with glands, organs, and, fundamentally, with a set of emotions and thoughts. For example, the heart chakra is the connection point for love and compassion, purely astral emotions that, when channeled, directly affect the physical heart. The subtle anatomy, as detailed by Franz Barden in his initiation into Hermetics, forces us to see the body as a system of communicating vessels. The astral body is the mediator, the one that translates impulses from the mental plane into feelings, and then these feelings into etheric vitality. If the creative fragment conceives the idea of illness, mental plane, the astral body immediately creates a sick thought form, astral plane. This astral form, charged with the emotion of worry, begins to drain energy from the etheric body at the corresponding point, a chakra, which finally leads to the physical manifestation of illness. Healing, seen from this perspective, is the dissolution of the sick thought form in the astral plane and its replacement with a thought form of perfect health. The most direct evidence that you possess this subtle body comes with the experience of astral travel. Astral travel is the conscious projection of the astral body outside the physical body. This occurs universally and naturally during deep sleep. While the physical body sleeps to recover, the astral fragment is freed from the anchor of the physical body, and the astral body projects to process the impressions of the day, interact with other consciousnesses, and often receive instruction in astral schools. This process is fundamental for the evolution of the fragment, as it allows for the assimilation of knowledge without the limitations of the physical mind. The silver cord, which is a thread of etheric and astral energy, maintains the vital connection between both bodies, guaranteeing the safe return of the astral body. Conscious projection is the advanced step for interacting deliberately and powerfully with the creative substance. It is in the astral plane, where there is no time or space as we know them, that creation with thought is instantaneous, and where the fragment can test its creations before anchoring them in the physical. Chapter 7. 2. Maximize understanding. It is vital to merge the esoteric perspective with the modern understanding of the mind. The creator fragment operates as the conductor of an orchestra, where the mental body is the composer, the astral body the musicians, and the physical body the stage. The concept of the 7 rays, an advanced esoteric teaching, offers a more nuanced view of how the fragment operates through the mental and astral planes. These 7 rays are 7 currents of cosmic energy that permeate the universe, each with a specific quality: will, love, wisdom, active intelligence, harmony, concrete knowledge, devotion, and order. These rays manifest through the chakras. Understanding which ray is active in your creator fragment allows you to understand the intrinsic nature of your power. For example, a fragment with a strong ray of will manifest with tremendous force and purpose, but may struggle with empathy. A fragment with a ray of love wisdom will manifest with harmony and ease, but may lack the force for direct action. The conscious creator seeks to balance these rays through modeling. Neuroscience on visualization offers a perfect modern analogy for astral modeling. The creation of thought forms on the astral plane is an act as real as physical action. By visualizing a goal, the astral fragment not only creates the shape of that goal, but also creates the neural pathways necessary to execute that goal on the physical plane. This means that astral modeling not only changes your external reality, but literally reprograms your brain and body to become the person who can receive or achieve that manifestation. This is the scientific explanation for why visualization works. The most common error in creation is the impurity of desire. Desire, being the force of the astral plane, must be channeled. The creator fragment often confuses the desire of the ego, desire for control, possession, validation, with the desire of the soul, desire for service, growth, contribution. Ego desires create weak and conflicting thought forms as they clash with the evolutionary current of the Akasha. Soul desire, aligned with the greater good, creates thought forms that are assisted by the cosmic energy itself, manifesting with the least resistance. Purity of intention is the power switch of the creator fragment. A simple thought, but loaded with a pure and selfless intention, is infinitely more potent than a complex and selfish desire. To close this theoretical cycle, it is crucial to reiterate the concept of ancestral memory. The knowledge we are unveiling is not new. It is the memory the astral fragment has retained throughout eons of incarnation. The fragment remembers the golden ages where humanity lived with full awareness of its astral body, where communication was telepathic, astral, and creation was instantaneous. The reason for this script is not to inform you of something you do not know, but to awaken the memory of your creator fragment. The key for retention for the transition to the next chapter is the recognition that conscious manifestation is the most responsible and powerful act you can perform. You have been endowed with the same creative clay as the source. The challenge is to master it with ethics and precision. Now that we have covered cosmology, A, thought as substance, B, the universal record, C, and the anatomy of your vehicle, D, we are ready for the great leap, modeling techniques and the supreme ethics of conscious creative power. Chapter 2 will give you the blueprints, tools, and warnings necessary to begin sculpting your reality deliberately and aligned with evolution. We have traveled through the planes, unveiled the source of our power as fragments of the Creator, and understood that astral matter is the cosmic clay waiting to be molded by our consciousness. This knowledge, if it remains only theory, is sterile. The true value of the revelation lies in the disciplined application of that power. Let us move then to the operations manual. We will move from the mythical vision to methodical action, delivering the blueprints for your astral fragment to operate with the precision of a cosmic engineer. Chapter 8. The manifestation process is a chain of vibratory events that descends through the planes. Although it seems complex, it is inherently simple and obeys an immutable law. Thought engenders form. Form engenders matter. The creator fragment uses the mental plane for the conception of the pure idea. This is the original spark, the will or desire devoid of emotion. Then this idea descends to the astral plane, where it is clothed and charged with a thought form. It is on the astral that the fragment applies emotion and intensity, giving it mass and gravitational potential. Finally, this form descends to the etheric plane, where it becomes a vital energy template, and from there it solidifies in the physical plane as matter or event. Understanding this hierarchical process is the basis of all modeling. If you try to create directly from the physical plane, through frantic and disorganized action, the process is slow and requires immense effort because you are fighting against inertia. If you create from the astral plane, through disciplined thought, the process is assisted by the laws of the cosmos. Effective astral modeling requires the masterful use of the three immutable ingredients of creation, which act as the trinity of manifestation: clarity of vision, emotional intensity, and persistence. Clarity of vision. This is the architect. The pure idea must be precise. Astral substance does not respond to ambiguity. If you ask for wealth, you must define what that wealth means in tangible terms: a specific amount, a type of asset, a lifestyle. Lack of detail is the #1 mistake of unconscious creators. A diffuse vision creates a blurry thought form that lacks the necessary density to descend. The fragment must be a painter who uses the mind to design their creation with the maximum sensory resolution. Emotional intensity. This is the fuel. Desire is the driving force of the astral plane. Emotional intensity, that is, feeling as if the goal has already been fulfilled, gives the thought form the vibratory energy necessary to attract its physical equivalent. Faith, joy, gratitude, and passion are the highest frequency emotions. The key is not need or despair, low frequency emotions, but the calm joy of fulfillment. This emotion must be pure and have no hint of doubt. Persistence, coherence. This is the will. Persistence is the act of sustaining the thought form on the astral plane until it achieves critical mass. It is not about visualizing 20 times a day, but about maintaining mental residence in the fulfilled state. The conscious creator avoids the duality of creation. They do not allow themselves to create the form of health in the morning and the form of fear of disease in the afternoon. This inconsistency is the active destruction of one's own work. Now let's address the fundamental why of the practice, why visualization works. As already mentioned, neuroscience has validated that the brain activates the same neural pathways when vividly visualizing an action as when executing it. For the astral fragment, visualization is not a dream, but an act of literal construction. By visualizing, your fragment is taking astral substance with the force of your mind and emotion and giving it shape. You are creating an astral double of your desire. This astral double, once constructed with enough clarity, intensity, and persistence, begins to function as an energy magnet. It attracts from the Akasha the resources, people, synchronicities, and events necessary for its materialization. The astral body does not know the word impossible. It only knows the vibration of the form you are giving it. Visualization is, in essence, the engineering of reality on the non-physical plane. The eternal question of time, the time of manifestation. Why do some things manifest in days and others take years, or never do? The answer is rarely in the technique, but in resistance. The time of manifestation is inversely proportional to internal resistance and the density of pre-existing astral counterforms. Resistances and blockages. Limiting beliefs are, in fact, astral counterforms. If a creator fragment was programmed from childhood with the belief that wealth is bad or success is for others, that belief solidified into a powerful negative thought form, a fortress of fear on the astral plane. This counterform actively opposes the positive thought form being attempted to create. It's like two conflicting forces. The time of manifestation is the time it takes for the positive thought form to accumulate enough energy to dissolve or annul the astral counterform. Other blockages include miscalibrated desire, creating from the ego and not the soul, doubt, which cyclically creates and destroys the form, and the sense, the as of unworthiness, a passive but very dense counterform. The work of the conscious modeler, prior to visualization, is to identify and dismantle these negative thought forms. Finally, the importance of alignment with the greater good. The astral fragment is a portion of the creator. Its natural tendency is harmony, service, and the expansion of consciousness. When a personal desire aligns with these principles, the thought form is assisted by the cosmic energy current. Manifestation becomes almost effortless because there is no friction with the Akasha. Creations that seek to dominate, manipulate, or harm, although they can manifest by the brute force of will, generate immense karmic friction that consumes the fragment's energy and is recorded as a debt in the creator memory, ensuring a negative return. Alignment is not a moral rule, it is a law of astral energy efficiency. Chapter 9. With the principles established, we proceed to the creative visualization techniques. These are not fantasies, but precise procedures for manipulating astral substance. Each technique must be executed following a rigorous method. Preparation. Entering an altered state of consciousness. Alpha theta waves. The astral fragment does not operate efficiently in the ordinary state of consciousness, beta waves, which is saturated with mental noise and physical distractions. To access the astral plane and model substance, we must reduce the frequency of brain waves. Theoretical foundation. Alpha waves, 8 to 13 Hz, are the state of deep relaxation just before sleep, where the physical mind calms down. Theta waves, 4 to 8 Hz, are the state of light sleep and deep meditation, where the connection with the subconscious and the astral fragment is direct. This is the threshold of creation. Preparation. Find a quiet place. Sit with your back straight but comfortable. Begin rhythmic, deep breathing, counting to 4 on the inhale, holding for 4, exhaling for 4. Count progressively backward from 10 to 1, associating each number with a deeper level of relaxation. Upon reaching 1, the physical consciousness has yielded control to the astral fragment, and you are operating in the alpha-theta state. Step-by-step execution with sensory details. Building the form. Once in the alpha-theta state, the creator fragment must design the thought form with maximum precision. Theoretical foundation. Astral substance is molded by the mental image. The sharper the image, the denser and more powerful the thought form. Execution. Vision. Visualize the creation as a fixed image or a short scene. If it is an object, observe it from all angles. If it is a state, observe yourself within that state. Color. The form must be bathed in the color that corresponds to its vibration. For example, green or gold for healing, blue for peace, violet for transmutation. Sound. What sounds accompany the fulfilled state? Hear the words of congratulation, the sound of waves, or the silence of achieved peace. Smell and touch. Feel the texture of the fabric of your new success, the weight of the manifested object, the scent of the environment. Involving all senses ensures that the creator fragment is building a three-dimensional, tangible model on the astral plane. Emotional charge. Feeling as if it is already real, the form is built. Now it must be energized. Theoretical foundation. Emotion is the engine of the astral plane. The thought form only descends when it has enough energy. The most potent emotion is anticipatory gratitude and the joy of fulfillment. Execution. Transition. After the sensory visualization, pause and immerse yourself in the feeling. Ask yourself, how does it really feel to have achieved this? Amplification. Amplify that emotion. Feel a wave of gratitude and joy run through your body. This energy is what is charging the thought form on the astral plane. It is vital to avoid the feeling of need or lack. You must feel the fullness of astral possession. Maintenance. Sustain this emotion for a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes, allowing the thought form to solidify with this high frequency. The seal. Releasing the desire and trusting the process. Once the form is built and charged, the fragment must culminate the creative act. Theoretical foundation. Sealing is the act of conscious will to hand over the thought form to the Akasha for execution. The conscious creator knows that once designed and charged, their work is done. Obsession and doubt are interferences that prevent the universe from completing the work. Execution. Release. Phrase. Use a power phrase, such as, "It is done. I release this form to the Akasha with total trust. Thank you." The act of letting go. Visualize the thought form ascending from your auric field, moving away from you and heading into the astral sky, like a balloon you release. Do not try to control it or follow it. Return. Return to the normal state of consciousness, bringing with you only the feeling of peace and the certainty of fulfillment, not the worry. Chapter 10. Now we will explore 3 fundamental and advanced practices that apply these principles in a structured way. Fundamental practice. Creating a protective sphere of light in the auric field. This is the first task of the conscious creator fragment. protecting its workshop from external influences. Theoretical foundation. Your aura is an energy field open to collective and negative thought forms from the environment. The sphere of light is a protective thought form that acts as a filter and a shield. Preparation. Enter the alpha-theta state, according to the previous method. Execution. Construction. Visualize a sphere of white or golden light, the color of pure consciousness, that begins to expand from the center of your heart. Expansion. Make this sphere grow until it completely surrounds your body, at least 1 meter away in all directions. Ensure the light extends both above and below you. Emotional charge. Feel absolute security and invulnerability within this sphere. Feel that no energy that is not love and harmony can penetrate it. The seal. Seal the sphere with the intention: this sphere is my divine protection and my filter. It remains active and perfect throughout the day. Maintenance. Repeat this practice upon waking and before sleeping. This creates a persistent, protective thought form that sustains itself. Advanced practice. Modeling body organs for healing. The Creator Fragment has the power to heal its own physical vehicle, as all disease has an astral origin, a thought form of imbalance. Theoretical foundation. Astral healing consists of dissolving the thought form of disease and replacing it with the thought form of perfect health. Preparation. Enter the alpha-theta state. Know the anatomy of the target organ, clarity of vision. Execution. Astral diagnosis. With the mind, project your consciousness into the affected organ. Observe it. Often, you will see it as dark, cloudy, or with distorted shapes, which are the thought forms of the disease. Dissolution. Visualize a violet light, the color of transmutation, or intense blue, the color of healing, penetrating the form of the disease. Use your will to dissolve that thought form. Imagine the dark color evaporating. Construction of health. Visualize the organ in its state of perfect radiant health. Observe it with a vibrant color and a pulsating energy, bright green for growth, gold for vitality. Emotional charge. Feel the joy and gratitude for the healing that is already complete on the astral plane. Feel the energy of vitality run through your whole body. The seal. Seal the work. This form of health is my new etheric and physical reality. The fragment has restored the original design. Frequency. This practice requires daily persistence and absolute faith. You must not allow the thought of relapse, as it would recreate the thought form of the disease. Master practice. Visualization of the personal astral temple. This is a power technique that establishes a permanent sacred place for the fragment on the subtle plane. Theoretical foundation. The astral temple is a space of power created by the Creator Fragment. It acts as a high-frequency focal point, a place where the fragment can go instantly to recharge, receive instruction, and create without interference from the physical or collective astral environment. It is your private modeling laboratory. Preparation. Enter the alpha-theta state. Execution. Journey. With intention, visualize yourself ascending outside the physical body, mental projection. Use imagination as the vehicle. Design. Build your temple with clarity of vision. It should have an entrance, a meditation or creation room, and a rest area. Choose the colors, materials, crystals, metals, wood, and geometry, domes, pyramids, that resonate with your highest purpose. For example, a crystal pyramid in a landscape of eternal spring. Energy charge. Charge the temple with a specific energy. It can be the energy of wisdom, sapphire blue light, unconditional love, pink light, or pure will, golden light. Seal every corner with this intention. The creation table, inside the temple, visualize a table or platform of pure material, quartz, gold. This is the place where you will do all your modeling. Every thought form created here is charged with the energy of the temple, accelerating its manifestation. The seal and the vow. Seal the temple with the vow that only thought forms aligned with your greater good and that of humanity will be created here. Seal the temple with the phrase, "This place is inviolable and sacred. I return here every time my creator fragment must operate with purity." The astral temple, once created with enough clarity and persistence, remains as a permanent thought form on the subtle plane. Simply by closing your eyes and invoking it, you can return to that state of pure consciousness to perform any modeling, saving you the need to recreate the preparation state every time. Chapter 11. We have established the immutable principles of astral modeling, clarity, intensity, and persistence, and we have equipped ourselves with fundamental techniques such as protective visualization and the creation of the personal astral temple. Now, we will expand the scope of the creator fragment to the environment and, more importantly, establish the ethical framework that must govern this immense power. The mastery of modeling is not just technical, it is ethical and total alignment. The environment we live in is not passive. It is an extension of our own auric field and the collective. Spaces are saturated with the energy of the thought forms of those who inhabit or have inhabited them. A home, a workplace, or a historical site becomes a receptacle of these subtle energies. The conscious modeler must learn to work with this environment. Space clearing, dissolving accumulated negative thought forms, theoretical foundation. Conflicts, fears, and worries leave residues of dense thought forms on the astral plane of a place. These forms act as anchors that reduce the vibrational frequency of the space, hindering positive manifestation. Execution. Diagnosis. Enter the alpha-theta state and project consciousness into the space. It will be perceived as areas of shadow, heaviness, or grayish or brownish colorations. Active dissolution. Visualize a bright violet or white light flooding the space. Use the power of your will to project waves of this light as if it were a high-powered vacuum cleaner. Intend for this light to dissolve, transmute, and pulverize any thought form that does not serve the greater good. Sound purification. Use elevated sound frequencies, such as crystal bells, Tibetan bowls, or mantras, to break the coherence of dense thought forms. High-frequency sound is a very potent astral solvent. Sealing. Seal the space with an intention of purity and joy. Creation of protective fields, sacred geometries. On the astral plane. The sphere of light is for the individual. Sacred geometries are for the space. Theoretical foundation. Geometric shapes have inherent vibrational resonances in the universe. Sacred geometry, such as the pyramid, the cube, or the dodecahedron, are pure thought forms that establish stable and harmonious frequency fields. Execution. Choice of form. For protection and stability, visualize a pyramid of golden light surrounding the house with its base at the foundations. For harmony and love, visualize an octahedron of soft pink light. Anchoring. Place a vortex of white or golden light in each corner of the space or property. These vortices act as generators that keep the geometric form of light stable. Intention and seal. Charge the geometry with a specific intention. For example, only peace, abundance, and health can manifest within this cube of light. Seal the form with your will. Blessing of places, imbuing spaces with specific qualities. This is the creative counterpart to clearing. Theoretical foundation. Blessing is the active creation of a positive thought form for a space. Execution. Selection of quality. Decide the quality you wish to manifest. For example, creativity in a studio or healing in a bedroom. Emotional projection. Walk through the space in a state of elevated consciousness, intensely feeling the desired quality. Feel the joy of creativity or the peace of healing. This emotion is impregnating the astral matter of the place. Symbol visualization. Visualize an appropriate symbol, like a lotus for wisdom, a sun for vitality, floating and radiating in the center of the space. This symbol is the main thought form of your blessing. Feng Shui as manipulation of astral energy's theoretical foundation. Feng Shui, although often reduced to the physical placement of objects, is fundamentally the manipulation of qi, etheric energy, and the channeling of astral energies, emotional, through the environment. Conscious application. When placing an object, a water fountain, a mirror, the conscious modeler not only follows the physical rule, but charges the object with a thought form. For example, a metal bowl placed in the prosperity zone must be charged with the thought form of infinite abundance, visualizing the bowl overflowing with golden light. The physical object becomes an astral anchor for the thought form that is desired to manifest. Creating guardian thought forms. Benevolent astral entities. This is an advanced technique and requires great purity of intention. Theoretical foundation. It is possible to create thought forms with an intelligence and a pre-programmed function, giving them the task of protecting or assisting. These are not spirits, but astral entities created by the will of the fragment. Execution. Design. Visualize a figure, an angel, a power animal, a warrior of light, with total clarity. Function. Implant a specific function. Your sole task is to dissolve any thought form of fear that approaches. This home will charge. Charge the entity with the power of your fragment, giving it the free will to fulfill only that specific function. Fragment warning. Never create a guardian entity with an aggressive or controlling intention. They must operate only to protect the harmony of your space. They must be created and released with love and service. Working with elementals. Collaboration with natural intelligences of the astral plane theoretical foundation. Nature is populated by non-human intelligences known as elementals, gnomes, sylphs, undines, salamanders, that operate on the etheric and astral planes. They are the builders of physical matter and respond to natural laws. Collaboration. The creator fragment can request the collaboration of these beings for manifestation on the physical plane. For example, elementals of the earth, gnomes, can be requested to assist in the health of a garden or the prosperity of a business, both anchored in matter. This collaboration is based on respect and the exchange of energy, not domination. The fragment offers pure energy and harmony. They assist in the organization of matter. Chapter 12. The power of the Creator. Fragment is the greatest force in the universe, next to the source itself. Therefore, conscious modeling must be inseparably linked to a rigorous ethics of creative power. The supreme responsibility. Every creation returns to the Creator ethical foundation. The Akasha registers the intention of every thought form. There are no secrets in the universe. The karmic law is a perfect mirror. If you sow a thought form of manipulation or harm, that same energy, amplified by the Akasha, will return to your auric field to be experienced. This is not a threat, but a guarantee of cosmic justice. Why the free will of others must not be manipulated. Fragment warning. Manipulation, control, or the attempt to change the path of another individual is a direct violation of universal law. The creator fragment only has jurisdiction over its own reality. Karmic consequence. Attempting to impose a thought form on the auric field of another, e.g., to make someone love you or give you money, creates immediate and heavy karmic friction. The energy used to violate free will return to the creator, often manifesting as a loss of personal power or external dependence. The fragment must manifest for itself and then invite, but never force. White magic versus black magic. Intention of service versus domination. The distinction is not in the technique, but in the intention. White magic, ethical modeling. The intention is service, healing, harmony, and upliftment. It manifests in alignment with the greater good of the universe. Black magic, selfish modeling. The intention is domination, control, gain at the expense of others, or harm. It uses the same laws and techniques, but with an egocentric intention that results in an accumulation of dense karmic energy. The fragment that chooses this path is the one that imprisons itself. The 3 questions before creating. Before initiating any complex modeling, the conscious fragment must subject its desire to 3 ethical filters and timeless principle of wisdom. Is it true? Is it aligned with evolutionary reality and not an egotistical illusion? Is it necessary? Is it vital for my growth or for service? Or is it a whim that will divert my energy? Is it kind? Does it benefit all involved or only me at the expense of others? If the answer to any of these questions is negative, the thought form must be immediately dissolved, as it is destined to generate resistance and negative karma. The karma of creations. How thought forms affect the creator. The thought forms you create are your astral children. They stay with you until they dissolve or manifest. Positive creation. A thought form of gratitude adheres to your aura, attracting more reasons to be grateful. It is a positive feedback loop. Negative creation. A thought form of complaint or judgment adheres to your aura, draining your vitality, etheric energy, and attracting situations that reinforce the judgment. The vow of the conscious creator. Use power only for the greater good. The conscious modeler must make an internal vow to their creator fragment that this power will not be used for trivial, selfish, or harmful purposes. This vow is a permanent, high-powered thought form that is sealed in the fragment and acts as a guardian of intention. Chapter 13, the ultimate goal of astral modeling, is not to accumulate wealth or pleasure, but to achieve manifestation from wholeness, the perfect alignment of all planes. Integrating the levels: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. Aligned, effortless creation occurs when there is no conflict between the vehicles. Spiritual: the desire is aligned with the divine will, the higher purpose. Mental: the thought is clear and precise, clarity of vision. Emotional: astral: the feeling is of joy and certainty, emotional intensity. Physical: the actions are inspired and light, not forced. Action without effort. Effortless manifestation: when personal desire aligns with divine will, when the fragment has purified its intention, eliminating the ego, and its desire is the same as the universe's desire for its growth, manifestation occurs by synchronicity. The universe does not have to fight to deliver the result. The desire flows without resistance. This is the mark of the mature creator. Signs of correct manifestation, synchronicities, doors opening. When a thought form is descending correctly, the signs are not extravagant miracles, but a chain of improbable yet logical events. The perfect phone call, the casual encounter that is crucial, the idea that solves everything. These synchronicities are the physical evidence that the astral fragment has orchestrated the manifestation. When manifestation does not occur, lessons on detachment and trust. If a thought form, created with all the principles, does not manifest, there are always 2 fundamental reasons: karmic blockage, resistance. There is a lesson or a karmic debt that must be resolved before manifestation is possible. Non-alignment with purpose. The fragment, in its higher wisdom, knows that this desire is not for the greater good. The lesson here is detachment and trust in the cosmic order. The mature modeler does not obsess over the what, but trusts the how of the universe. The mature creator no longer models out of personal whim. They model health to better serve, model abundance to finance projects of light, and model wisdom to assist other fragments. Their power becomes an evolutionary force in service of the source. The goal of this knowledge is collective transformation. Imagine a world where every human being is conscious of their creator fragment, where every thought is molded with ethics and purpose, and where collective fear is replaced by thought forms of harmony and cooperation. This is the final vision of the new humanity, a humanity conscious of its astral creative power. Your journey has only just begun. Theoretical knowledge is a seed. Practice is the cultivation. Use your creator fragment with reverence, discipline, and love, and watch how the clay of the universe bends to the pure will of your essential being.